All right, Chatterbox number 16, back at you. Skittles, McStarring Pants, and Dates for Claw here.
Hello there.
How you guys doing out there in internet land? Doing all my maintenance now. Yeah, as I just fucking sit there and not talk. Apparently the fucking world is going crazy right now.
Right. Yeah, you're saying then attacking Barcelona, man. I had completely missed it, man. I had not been on the internet all day.
Well, I just happened to be walking by, and like my dad watches the news all the time, so I just walked by and saw it on TV, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's not cool."
Right.
That's some fucked up shit right there. I keep doing that. I keep forgetting to pop out the chat and hitting participants instead. Like, I know there's nobody there. I just like to pretend that there might be in like the chat and like the vein. Oh,
somebody usually shows up, but yeah, usually not right away.
Yeah. Oh man. So did fucking there's the Charlottesville thing is still going. I'm surprised it's held on for this long, and I think it's because Trump didn't like immediately like fucking agree to the lynch mob mentality bullshit. He was like, "Look, there were shitty people on both sides here, and we can't pretend that wasn't an issue." And just be like one-sided and decide that all these people are just evil and that's all there is to it. We have to look at it. And while I don't agree with permitted protests, I don't think you should have to get a permit to protest. I think you have the right to assemble. It shouldn't have anything. The government should have no say in it.
Right.
It's like I don't agree with having a permit to own weapons either. Like you should just be able to own as many guns as you want. That's flat out. That's what the Constitution says, and I fully agree with it. And it shouldn't even have a say in what kind of guns you
own. Yeah, that's a tough one, man. Because it's one of the things that's supposed to help keep the government honest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
and it's being trampled on.
It was initially the same kind of weapons that the military had.
Yeah.
It wasn't intended to be like, well, you can have rifles and pistols, but no real weapons.
Exactly.
To be that. In fact, they actually ruled that people could have their own cannons when cannons were like the big weapon of the day.
Right. When that was the weapon of mass destruction or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think the interesting thing is, if you really want to look at the thing in Virginia, the Charlottesville, there was a lot of horrible things that happened. But if you look at the way the two groups were dressed, I think that says a lot about what's going on right now. Because the right-wing people initially were totally peaceful. I mean, yeah, they're fucking racist, whatever. That's shitty, but they have the right. But they were dressed protectively. Like they were wearing armor, helmets, safety glasses, carrying shields. And then you had Antifa show up to like fight them, who were carrying like weapons and dressed in masks, so nobody would know who they were.
Right.
You can't sit there and compare those two and say like, well, those racist people were evil and out there to start a fight. Like clearly they were not.
Right. Well, clearly they knew what to expect. And they're fucking. That's the thing that bugs me is like, okay, yeah, any supremacists, white or otherwise, are usually going to be fucking assholes, but they were fucking peaceful about it. Like they were fucking let them have their fucking say. However ridiculous we might think it is, you don't have to fucking attack them. There's not going to be that many people that flock to that type of thing, unless they're fucking beaten down by. Yeah, I don't know. It's amazingly, there's a lot of quite a few Republican people that are like kind of saying, who was it? I think it was my guy, fucking McCain, referred to Antifa as fucking angels.
Yeah. Well, and there's what was it? There was a couple of news articles talking about how they're rising to fight the Nazis, and it's like, no, they've been just going out and fucking attacking random people because they don't have the same politics.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's never been a like they didn't just start over this last weekend. They've been out for a while, out for fucking blood, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's been going for. Yeah, and I still really wonder if the police didn't fucking bail. You know, if that kid fucking.
He did. Yeah. Oh yeah. If that kid might not have done what he did, and then
Yeah. I mean, at first I was like, "Oh, you can't. You'll never really know," which is true. But I really can't see that kid, no matter how fucking fired up he was or whatever was going through his mind. I can't see him seeing a bunch of police and still plowing through a fucking bunch of people. You know. Like,
well,
I think the police presence there would have prevented him from doing what he did.
well, I think because they were doing a really good job prior to just taking off of keeping all the groups separated,
Right.
which would have been the key element to, like, you know, the violence. And you know, again, not to, you know, justify what he did, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's been talked to death, though. I think.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one. All right. Let me set up the screen share here, because this was just the craziest fucking article. Vice, let's get rid of Mount Rushmore. So there's been a real movement to just destroy like statues of people, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
This person is evil, and we should get rid of them, because a lot of times it's not even an accurate statement. You know that the person was evil. That's just you're trying to like make a gray situation black and white. Number one.
Yeah, just on the losing side. You know, not every.
Well, you know, I mean, especially when you're talking about Civil War stuff. Civil War was not entirely about slavery. In fact, slavery was a very, very minor part of the Civil War. There were so many other things going on that were, you know, like, was it a federal? It was a big challenge between the federal and the states, and who was going to have the ultimate authority, and a lot of other things, taxation, how the markets were being handled. You know, was the federal government cracking down on cotton unfairly, or were they like taxing stuff? I mean, there's a whole lot of other things going on. I'm clearly not an expert, but
right.
a lot more than just the slavery. But they're legitimately, they're legitimately saying, like, we should probably get rid of Mount Rushmore. And it should be noted, originally this was let's blow up Mount Rushmore.
Oh, wow.
They yanked the article down and retitled it because everybody was like, you're out of your fucking mind.
Right. Although, how would you get rid of it other than blowing it up?
I would imagine you'd have to, yeah. But they're saying, like, it should happen. And that we should just, like, you know, all these people are evil because there was other stuff involved in there other than just the founding of the nation. And it's like, yeah, I don't fucking care anymore. Like, at this point, it's just ridiculous to be like, well, Thomas Jefferson, I should say, Thomas Jackson. You know, Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers, he owned slaves, so he was a terrible man. I'm like, no, everybody owned them at that point in time.
Right.
He was for the time period, and ultimately a very good person.
Right. Yeah, one of the best, which is one of them, you know, great indicators of, you know, it was the time they lived in. You know, the fact that he owned slaves, but he was an incredibly forward-thinking individual. But he also fucking owned slaves. Like, it was just the way it was back then. Like, you know, we obviously evolved from that, but not everybody back then was just, like you said, evil to their core, you know, because they owned slaves.
It was how you made money. It was how you ran a business. There wasn't a case of like,
right,
you got some sort of vindictive streak in you and you really wanted to hurt people. It was just that's what you did to make money.
Yeah.
If you
even Abraham Lincoln. Even Abraham Lincoln didn't think much of black people or slaves, you know, even though he's the one that freed them. You know, if you read his opinions on them, everyone kind of considered them second class or lesser than, dude.
Yeah. And I like the little caveat thing that the guy puts in where he's like, oh, I don't think Barack Obama should be on the side of a mountain. I'm like, well, nobody asked you if that was the case. Like, that was never suggested. So I don't know why you're even bringing it up.
It's a little weird.
Well, because Obama is a black man, and I don't think he should be on the side of the mountain either. And it's like, well, I think you're just making weird shit up because you know,
She sent you ever suggestion?
it just doesn't make any sense.
Sent you ever says you should blow them up and replace them with pop stars?
Dude, I'm all about putting the Spice Girls on the side of a mountain, man. That would be fine with me.
Fuck it. Yeah. At this point, let's just sit back and grab some popcorn and watch the world fucking destroy itself, dude, and enjoy the show.
Well, here's the thing that really gets me. Is it kind of looks like it's headed for civil war. And let me tell you, the North ain't going to win this round. Round 2 is not going to go to the left wing at all.
Yeah. Well, at this point, it would almost be like New York and California, or like the East Coast and the West Coast against pretty much the rest of the country, wouldn't it? You know?
Oh, yeah. No, well, I mean, it essentially, that's one of the reasons why there's the whole electoral college in the first place, is so that it isn't just a case of the big cities decide who runs the entire country, because there's a lot of people who live in a lot of area, and they should all have a fair say. You have to keep it balanced between, because what is it, the tyranny of the majority is a thing. You have to keep a balance between like the tyranny of the majority and the tyranny of the minority. You don't want either side like always having the upper hand kind of deal.
Right. Yeah. Otherwise, again, it would only be, you would only campaign in the major cities and fuck everywhere else.
And everywhere else, nobody would ever get anything that they wanted out of the government. So it would just be a terrible thing. And that's how you end up with things like slavery in the first place. The way our government was set up, it was inevitable that the slaves would eventually be freed because it was written in our Constitution. And sooner or later, people were going to realize, hey, skin color doesn't make you not human.
Right.
And, humans are, have these inalienable rights, and we have to protect those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I believe originally they, I haven't researched this a lot, but I think Jefferson originally wanted to write in the abolition of slavery into the first Constitution.
A substantial amount of the founding fathers were actually arguing against slavery before it was even before the Constitution. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They were looking at it as like, this is against everything we stand for. But there were enough people who were like, look, this is how we make all our money. You can't bankrupt the nation.
Not yet, anyway.
Now it's sort of standard procedure who can stack up the most debt.
Right.
They were looking at it like, we can't bankrupt everybody in the country and then have a country because it won't fucking matter.
Mm-hmm.
But like legitimately,
not when they're just getting started.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the right wing has all the food and all the guns, so I'm not sure what the left wing thinks is going to happen.
Yeah,
they're getting to this fever pitch of calling for what do you call it? Impeachment of Trump, and it's like if that happens, it'll absolutely be a civil war, and they'll lose.
Yeah, that's the stuff done by any of the former presidents is way worse, I believe, than anything Trump's done so far. And nobody fucking really mentioned a whole lot about impeachment, other than fucking Clinton lying about getting a fucking BJ,
Well, there was Nixon, and there was a lot of real fucking questionable shit going on in his campaign where he might have been spying on other campaigns.
Like, look at even Obama did a lot of fucked up shit that got passed, that Passover, and any of the previous ones, all the way back to pretty much Nixon. They've all had some fucking nasty shit they've done. I just don't think that he's done anything that bad, and they're already talking about impeachment just because they fucking hate the guy that much, dude.
Well, in Nixon, it's even questionable if he did anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's sort of assumed and taught, but the reality is, if you look at the situation, it was just sort of a situation where everybody just didn't want him to win.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that dissimilar from Trump's situation, and the whole Russia thing is obviously just nonsense.
Yeah, yeah.
They're talking on the news about how like the Russian attack on our election, like there was none.
Yeah.
Like the DNC had a lot of information leaked out, probably by the guy that was somehow murdered by a mugger who stole nothing.
Yeah. Good old Seth
know?
Rich, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And they've come out and said like Seth Rich gave them that information. So there wasn't even like a Russian hacking that released that information. It was one of their own.
Right.
And he released that information because they committed blatant fraud that they still haven't been taken to court for.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of the shit that's they've gotten away with, like the shit that fucking Hillary has done over the years, or fucking Obama did. I really wonder if Obama was just slimy to begin with, or if he just kind of became evil over the years, dude.
Well, he was originally in Chicago, and I think it bears mentioning that while he was in charge of Chicago, they never really improved Chicago in any way, but he sure gave a lot of money to people that just didn't really need money.
Mm.
So I mean, he's been playing the game since back when he was, mayor of a city. I think he was a mayor.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he started as a state congressman, and then went to an actual. Well, I shouldn't say actual, but like a actual Congress. But yeah, his rise was pretty quick, dude. It was weird because I remember hearing about him when he was still just a state senator, and I'm like, why am I hearing about this guy? Like, you know what I mean? It was before he was even a U.S. senator. It was just weird, man. It was almost like his fucking. Yeah, I don't know. He had a really good PR team, I guess.
Oh yeah, he was in the Illinois Senate, Barack Obama.
Yeah, yeah.
I keep hearing like, I should never listen to fucking Steven Crowder. That was my bad. He keeps talking about being in charge of fucking Chicago, but obviously he was never the mayor, so I don't know what Steven Crowder's even talking about.
Yeah, that's why I stopped following Crowder. Like, a lot of times he's fucking right on point, but then some things he's just a fucking dumbass about, dude.
Well, you get into economics and holy crap. He just is out of his mind.
Like, or religion. If it's anything to do with religion, dude, I don't trust him for a fucking second, dude.
Religion and economics, he's way off. Like,
yeah.
Him and Ben Shapiro both have this whole free market fantasy world where, like, if you just take all the regulations away, like, everything will be decided by the free market, and the free market will fix everything. And, like, we've had that before, and we had company towns, we had slavery, and it just doesn't work. Yeah,
I'm amazed. Like I said, it seems like everybody, no matter how intelligent or how well-informed, they have a blind spot about something, dude. And usually multiple things. But
socialism is equally bad. It breeds stagnation. It sort of like it decentralizes any sort of innovation or creation, and it tends to just be like a cultural and societal stopping point where people just don't really go any further.
Yeah.
And then communism, of course, ends up with incredible amounts of corruption, and people end up being just flat out murdered because it's so against human nature that it just can't work.
Yeah. Human nature needs to, but I don't know. We're probably like literally hundreds, if not thousands, of years away from being evolved enough as a species to have that system work, and it probably just never will.
It would ever work for any group of people.
Yeah. Well, you need to be. Well, it would need to be. Everyone would have to be incredibly altruistic, dude, and that's just never gonna fucking, not likely to ever fucking happen.
Well, no. The other thing is you need some competition. You need competition to improve, because if you're not competing against somebody, then there's no. You have to have something to do.
There's no reason to fucking innovate.
You know, there's a lot of people who, if you just gave them a check every month, they would never go to work.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You would need people that were so driven for fucking whatever weird reason that they would fucking still fucking be innovative and all that without actually seeing any benefit from it other than their own pride. Like, there's just nowhere near enough people. And there, again, probably never will be. Like, you know, highly unlikely there'll ever be that many people that would make that system actually work.
There's nothing wrong with if somebody puts in 10 times the effort as somebody else, them having 10 times the money. I don't disagree with that concept.
Right.
At all.
Yeah.
I just have a problem with people rigging the system so that nobody else can get to that level, regardless of how much effort they put in.
Yeah.
And that's where the sticking point is when you look at free market. It allows companies to form monopolies and oligopolies and rig the system. And that's what you want to avoid, because then you're no longer getting any sort of competition because there's no option for competition.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is, dude. That's what sucks.
Well, I think it's a new system. You know, like instead of going with one of the three that we already know, it's let's start working out and taking all the people who know about economics and work out a fourth system that takes the good points from all of it and leaves all the bad points. And then,
well, no, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know what that would look like. I have no idea what the answer to what the solution to the problems are. You know?
It would look like a mixed economy, probably somewhere between capitalism and socialism.
Yeah, it would seem like there should be some kind of limit on the percentage. Like if you have a fucking shitload of workers that are making, you know, not a whole lot of money, and you got the guy on top making in fucking ridiculous amounts, like there should be, I guess, maybe like a percentage that after you make after your profits reach a certain point, like a certain percentage has to be paid back to the workers or something. I don't know, man. Like, you can't keep that much of the money and then pay your workers crap, you know?
If you run a company and you have 100 employees and your company brings in over the course of a year, you know, $100 million, that means each one of those employees brought in, you know, probably close to $1 million with the work that they did.
Right.
You're the one that owns it all. You're the one that came up with the idea. You set everything up and you run all the logistics. You should definitely be getting at least 80 million of that, but 20 million should be going to like your employees.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it should be some kind of percentage that should be paid out to the workers. Yeah, I can't have them keeping 99% of it and only paying back 1% to the workers that are, you know. No, I definitely agree that the person who fucking owns a place should be getting most of the money, but yeah, just not shitting on your workers to.
And there's a fair balance. There's a fair balance to say, like, you know, that you want companies to be able to compete with one another, but there's also a point to saying that, you know, everybody in the system all together is working pretty hard to make everything work, and so that we all have the stuff we want, and that everybody should be getting at least a certain amount of that resources that they generate or manipulate back into their own pocket.
Right. Yeah, some kind of version of profit sharing where if you make a certain amount, you have to fucking pay it back to the people doing the actual work.
The minimum wage is sort of like a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. The raising and lowering of minimum wage historically has never affected employment in any way, ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the fucking the sky is falling histrionics of fucking people when they talk about raising the minimum wage. It's gonna fucking destroy everything.
Well, and then they're talking about how, like, what was it, McDonald's or Wendy's or somebody fucking got rid of like 1,000 jobs and replaced them all with like order taking robots. You don't have to talk to a person; you just go in and punch in your order at the counter. That was gonna fucking happen regardless of wage, man. Like, that had nothing to do with minimum wage at all.
Right.
Because you install that thing and you never have to pay an employee again. It wouldn't have mattered if you paid him 50 cents an hour. If you lowered their wage to 50 cents an hour, they still would have been fired because over the course of the next 10 years, it's still going to be cheaper to have robots taking orders.
Right.
Like it's not, they were looking at outsourcing orders overseas. So you would be talking to some fucking dude in India,
right?
Like Taco Bell to get your burrito, and you would relay it to the people making the food in the back.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be like on, remember on Idiocracy where it's just a little fucking box that they order from?
Yeah.
Although at that point they had run out of potatoes, so they couldn't fucking, she's all pissed because she didn't actually get her food. A fucking box, basically.
Yeah.
Extra big ass fries.
Oh, man, exactly. And the thing that's really funny about it, though, is with automation and mechanization, we're just not going to have as many jobs.
Right. Yeah, it's been doing that fucking since the Industrial Revolution, man.
And the unfortunate thing is we're still going to have a lot of people who just aren't smart enough to do anything other than labor. And so you have to figure out some way of working out a system. Honestly, I think where people are working less hours a week.
Right.
Instead of having a 40-hour week standard, like a 32 or a 24-hour week is a standard, would make more sense because then you're still employing people. People still have challenges. They still have things to accomplish. But you're sharing the pay a little more reasonably over all the automation that we have at that point. But yeah, I don't know, that might not be the answer either. That might not work either. A lot of people talk about the what do you call it? Basic guaranteed income or whatever it is. The one where you just give everybody a paycheck every month. Like
right.
Payment.
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds like a terrible idea, but maybe it isn't.
Oh, I don't think it's a good idea either, but who knows?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The intelligent people seem to support it, so maybe I'm just a dumbass who doesn't get it. But yeah, oh yeah. So what else? What have we found out about Barcelona, man?
About Barcelona, that's right. Yeah, the terrorist attack in Barcelona.
Because I know absolutely nothing, dude.
I don't know, but I'm going to say it was probably Islam.
Yeah, it'd be shocking if it wasn't at this point.
So it looks like
although apparently communism is a big creator of terror. It's like the #2 creator of terror.
Well, generally that's just blatant, like governments that are communists just killing their own people.
Right.
They're like, we didn't agree with like those people, so we just killed them all because we're communists. And that's what we do. That's what Venezuela's going on right now. They're like, oh, these people don't like communism. We should probably just kill all those people, and the rest of everybody will be fine.
Right.
They'll it's kind of but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
So it looks like in Barcelona, a van drove through a crowd in La Ramblas. 12 people were killed and 80 people were injured. Jesus, that's fucking a lot for a van.
Wow. So is this pretty much like what happened in Nice then?
Yeah, pretty much. 2 suspects arrested. Reports of a 3rd suspect killed in police shootout. Looks like they even have a suspect. Trump has already said, "Hey, we'll be happy to help." And it's tough. Akinara wasn't one of them.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I want to lose fans, man.
That's probably why That's probably why he's not here, man. Probably dealing with it.
Yeah, it was a white van crashed into a packed summer crowd. So apparently it was like a big shopping district or something.
Oh, wow. So it is pretty much really similar to what happened in Nice.
Yep, and that guy's definitely Middle Eastern.
Asian. They call him Asian. They refer to him as Asian now.
Oh, yeah. Horse shit.
Yeah, it's fucking. I could not believe how they do that. They're like, okay, you can't call them Middle Eastern. Well, technically it's Asia, so let's refer to them as Asian men.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus, look how far they went. It looks like they went down several blocks, probably close to a mile.
Wow.
Before they were about to halt. That's why so many people were injured.
Yeah.
I would imagine the first people killed were like at the very beginning, and then after that, like most of the people were able
everybody was scattered. Yeah, scattered and got winged or whatever.
not into buildings or as close to the out of the way as they should.
Oh man. Oh man.
Now just
I don't
wait
know.
for the Not All Muslims brigade to come out. Like, you can't even discuss the terrorism or like the root of the cause. It's like everybody knows that it isn't everybody in that it isn't every single Muslim. We know that.
Right.
Saying it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like all the terror attacks, all Muslims don't do terror attacks, but most of all the terror attacks are done by Muslims. Like, we get it, it's not all of them, but it seems like the ones that do it are Muslim.
Yeah.
So, like, it's... Yeah. Huh?
You just try to get Mike to show.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. What do you think, Mikey? It's like remember Towley from fucking South Park? Like, would always show up whenever you said something about, what?
Never really got into South Park.
Well, there was okay, so you're not even familiar with the character Towley. He was a fucking, like, animated towel for some fucking reason. Yeah, he was always getting high, dude. But he would show up anytime you fucking talked about, some situation where you need a towel, like, let's go swimming, or, whatever fucking it was. So I was gonna make that joke, like, all you got to do is say, like, all Muslims are terrorists, or, something like that, to get Mike to show up.
Oh, yeah.
Mike's a Muslim apologist.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, shit, that didn't work. God damn it.
Well, what is it? It's sort of like the thing with Antifa. Like, all of the violence in a lot of in most of the quote unquote protests, Antifa was present in committing most of it. We can't blame Antifa. It's like, what do you
I don't get what the fuck is so special about Antifa that they can't get blamed for what they do, man. Other than, like, if the fucking Alex Jones conspiracy shit is true, and they're really backed by Soros, and that's the reason why nobody fucking touches it. Yeah, I've seen that for protests, like the ones for against the pipeline and shit like that. But I didn't know that there was ones for this kind of shit. It's crazy.
I don't think they announced that they're for Antifa. I think it's one of those things where basically they get people hired on to be protesters, and then probably screen to see which ones can be encouraged to do the
I gotcha. Yeah.
So you show up, you get paid $15 to $18 an hour to protest either way.
Right.
And then some people are more likely to be willing to, go that extra mile, or basically run a screen for the people that are going to be like stuff.
I gotcha. Like, everybody's getting paid this amount, but then, like, hey, here, would you mind carrying a big wooden flag stick and, doing whatever comes natural, whatever that might be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and fucking encouraging them to go, like you said, go the extra mile.
You guys are going to be the protest. Don't let anyone through. No one gets through.
Yeah.
As if, then they got those people blocking the police and anybody from getting through the line to stop the people that are, like, burning and looting, businesses and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, though. But yeah, what if it really was Soros and fucking that shit? That was actually...
I absolutely believe it is. I don't...
Yeah, it kind of has to be, doesn't it? Like, it's the only thing that really makes sense. Like, what other reason would there be for why there's so many fucking, especially politicians, encouraging and actually lauding these people for what they're doing? Like, fucking... acting like it's a wonderful fucking thing, what Antifa does.
I just don't think it's only Soros.
Right.
I think he's part of a small group of people that are basically paying for all of this. I think it's also probably involves a lot of Saudi princes destabilizing the U.S.
Right.
If we go to war, we're much less likely to look at, like, alternative energy sources. We're going to need a lot of oil. they're going to make a ton of money. Soros would make a ton of money because whenever there's chaos and grief and death, that dude fucking profits like a mofo.
Right.
And the military industrial complex just in general, so probably like people like the Rockefellers and the Carnegies will be making bank.
Right.
You know? And I'm sure like people think they hear that and they think, oh, get the fucking tinfoil hats out. Get them out, man, because it's not that unlikely.
Yeah. I'm amazed at what people consider impossible. Like, no, nobody would ever be that. Well, no, people that are managed to get that filthy rich, you know, some of them might be honest, decent people, but most of them aren't, dude. Most of them are people that will do fucking slit their own mother's throat to fucking keep themselves in power, dude.
You know, even Elon Musk is probably a shitty piece of person. You know what I mean? Like, he's probably a really terrible person who's done awful things to get to where he is.
Right.
And now he's turning around sort of like, what's his name, Bill Gates, and turning around and being like, oh, I've got all this money. I better do all these good things to make up for all the shit that I did so I can feel better about myself.
Yeah, it's almost like a guilty conscience is forcing them to do good deeds.
Yeah, essentially.
Well, at least they have the guilty conscience. Fuck. I don't think Soros does.
No, I think Soros just wants to watch the world burn because, like, he's one of the, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if he's one of those true egotists who's like, you know, I'm dying, I'm getting older, I'm not going to be around, I don't want anything to survive me.
Yeah.
People. Like,
and plus, just the ego of being responsible for the world burning, you know, is probably part of it too. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised at all, man.
Yeah. Like, I know we're not supposed to like be too, you know, I'm sure a lot of people are going to say that, you know, guys are crazy, but you know, I think it's going to come out in 20 years, vindicating everything we said.
Right. Yeah, like I said, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Nothing else makes as much sense that I can think of, other than, you know, there is some kind of conspiracy behind this shit.
Well, I mean, you've got the news calling them angels. And any idiot can get on the internet and in 5 seconds find videos of that is absolutely not true.
All right.
You know,
yeah, like, dude, it's really like, what happens in Charlottesville if they don't show up to set shit off, dude? Those fucking.
It was a peaceful protest up until that point.
Nothing happens other than some, you know, dumbass fucking white supremacists have their little fucking pageant show or whatever, you know, and fucking talk about whatever the fuck they want to talk about, and the rest of us just are like, yeah, you're dumb, but you had your fucking day, so good for you. Like, that's it. You know, none of that fucking
racist, like, that's the thing that really kind of irks me a lot. It was a free speech rally. There were a substantial amount of people who were white nationalists, but I don't think a lot of people really realize that a big portion of that movement is just about taking pride in being a white person. It's not about putting down any other race.
Gotcha.
It's sort of a natural response, like a natural human response to the overwhelming hatred towards just white men in general and white people coming out of like the media and like colleges and stuff like that. So a lot of these young men are just like, no, you know what? I'm a white guy, and there's you know, white people are great. That's a good thing to be.
Right. Yeah, so, it's almost, it's the one thing you're not allowed to be proud of, dude.
Yeah, and if you were saying that, like,
white means straight. Oh fuck! What did I see? Damn it! There was something on Twitter that had something like that, where it had like, hey, gay man, I'm proud to be gay. Hey, black person, I'm proud to be black. And they're like, hey, that's great. And then fucking, I am a white person who's proud to be white. And like, you fucking racist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you do need to, you know, include that. Yes, there were KK and neo-Nazis there as well, and they're assholes.
Right.
But nobody was being violent until Antifa showed up. And it should be noted that while I don't agree with, you know, protest permits, the only group with a permit was the Freedom Rally.
Right.
So none of them,
the rest showed up
out in the street harassing them and fighting them and beating them up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for them to be turn around and try to spin this as Antifa did nothing wrong is just fucking ridiculous, dude.
I want these Freedom Rally groups to start suing the fucking cities for withdrawing the police.
Yeah, Yeah, that definitely needs to happen,
There's
man.
enough video evidence that until the police were withdrawn, everything was under control in so many of these situations that they need to start filing charges.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to make it so expensive that these cities can't get away with it anymore.
Yeah, yeah, like really fucking go after them, dude.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
supposedly there's one coming to my neck of the woods in San Francisco, not that long from now.
Oh shit. That should be interesting. I'll probably end up like well, Berkeley's right there too, right? I mean, it's right next door, right?
It's not that far away, yeah.
Yeah. So is the politics really that much different there than in Berkeley?
Alt-right rally in San Francisco. San Francisco, it's not that much different from Berkeley.
Maybe not quite
Nancy
as
Pelosi is asking the National Park Service to cancel it, which would be in direct violation of the Constitution. You fucking
right.
You can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Why the fuck? Well, they tried it in Charlottesville, right? And it actually got challenged.
When the federal judge just said, no, you don't get to do that.
Right.
The Constitution is very clear.
Yeah.
Sorry. I found a thing talking about it and it played a video on me. I fucking hate that. Like, don't play a video. But yeah, so yeah, Nancy Pelosi asked National Park Service to cancel alt-right rally in San Francisco. This is from 2 days ago. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi on Tuesday called on them to cancel it from San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge at the end of the month. So the end of this month, like 14 days?
Yeah,
August 26th, so less than that, like 9 days from now.
Wow.
What did she say? I am deeply alarmed by the hateful and dangerous nature of the event. Its timing so soon after the horrors in Charlottesville and the series questions over whether the National Park Service is at all equipped to ensure public safety during a white supremacist rally. Well, first of all, the alt-right are not white supremacists, so stop with that lie. She's a Democrat from California who represents San Francisco as part of her area that she represents, and I'm assuming she's a representative. She can't be a Senate because a senator we have two. So
right. Yeah, she's part of the House. So yeah, the House of Representatives, House Minority Leader. So yeah, that must be her district.
Yeah, if the National Park Service doesn't have enough manpower to protect the people in the rally, the state of California and the city of San Francisco should be required to, bring people to the table, bring more men in to do it.
Right.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. Yeah, especially the fact that the people having the actual...
And she's like, we must wonder where the decision to permit a white supremacist rally in a national park is being made. It's not at the National Park Service. It's not the Department of the Interior. It's not being made anywhere because it's not a choice.
Right.
If you put in a permit, you put in for a permit to have a gathering, they have to give it to you. Point blank, period.
Or get sued, yeah.
Yeah, it's not an option. It's a constitutional right. Like, whether you like the people or not. Like, I don't like the fucking, a lot of the lefty stuff that they do. I don't get to decide whether or not they get to go have their rally. That'd be ridiculous.
Right. Yeah.
Such fucking nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, man. Like, how are you that dismissive of the other fucking side? Like, yeah, it doesn't bother me when the fucking SJWs spout their fucking nonsense at their rallies or whatever the fuck they do. Nobody's showing up to fucking crash them. Although it would be kind of funny to heckle them because they're fucking stupid. But, nobody's stopping them, dude. Nobody's shutting them down. Nobody's attacking them. But as soon as anything that's fucking left, slightly either even just center right, is fucking getting shut down, dude. A free speech rally of all things is getting shut down, dude. Unironically so.
No, I don't want
to
sign in. I'm banned from Facebook.
Really?
Freedom rally. So this isn't an all-right rally. It's a freedom rally.
Right.
Just a free speech thing. So it's not. It's the Liberty Weekend in the Bay Area. This is a 2-day event in the NorCal San Francisco Bay Area. Joey Gibson, Amber Gwen Cummings, transsexual patriot, Lindsay Grathwall, patriot mom and daughter of this late Larry Grathwall. And so it doesn't even look like it's even like
it's not even any kind of fucking
super right wing even.
Wow.
Oh, they're gonna include like Space Stick Man, Bill Johnson of United America First, some Trumpites.
But basically, it's not sanctioned by the left, so it's fucking evil.
Yeah, so it must be a white supremacist thing. But it looks like it's pretty much just a mix of a lot of different people that are
anything that has to do with
freedom of speech and stuff.
Yeah, anything to do with freedom or freedom of speech is the enemy nowadays, dude.
Yeah.
Like, no, we believe in free speech, just, our free speech. Like, they say shit like that without, like, unironically.
Yeah.
Say shit like that, dude.
Without thinking about, like, oh, maybe that's pretty ridiculous that I'm saying that. That's a little weird.
Yeah, yeah. And I still don't get it, man. I don't know if it's like a generational thing, but that was really pounded into me somewhere, that it was really important that you defend people that you disagree with the most more vociferously than the people you agree with when it comes to free speech.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know. Is it just young kids that don't fucking get that now? I don't know. I don't know if there's other people my age that are.
The concern is that if you take somebody's words away, they're left with nothing to do but actions.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's a case where it's like you have to allow. Oh, here we go. Here's a stabbing, but you have to allow people to voice their opinions, because like otherwise,
even if it's ridiculous, man, let them have their say.
And if you're
he's got a big slash across his fucking stomach, right? Like the side of his stomach.
Yeah, for not condemning Nazis hard enough. A Vermont man says he was stabbed outside his home by a group of 5 masked men armed with box cutters on Tuesday after being labeled a Nazi sympathizer for denouncing attempts to ruin the life of a Unite the Right rally attendee, even though he himself strongly disavows white supremacy. So this is just some dude who's like, you can't just go ruining somebody's life because they don't agree with you.
Right.
And stabbed him out in front of his house.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I remember there being. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I remember seeing that. I was like, that's a big fucking slash, dude.
He appeared in Vice News. Well, yeah, we already looked at Vice. They want to blow up fucking Mount Rushmore, so they're not the most rational people.
Yeah, I thought Vice used to be okay, dude, but apparently not anymore.
Look at weird shit. It used to just be like, if you want like some weird stuff that nobody fucking talks about.
Right.
Oh, he even fucking his roommate's a fucking commie.
Wow.
With his roommate's a communist, and they fucking stabbed him anyway. Like he's like halfway to their fucking side anyway.
Right. Although the roommate could have been the one that fucking set him up because he knows you know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh my God. So yeah, Warner strongly disagreed with Roy's views, but did not support efforts to get Roy fired or to call Vermont Department for Children and Families in an attempt to remove his child from his home.
Right.
Like how fucking gross is that? Like, I don't agree with you if you don't get to have your own child. You're asking for like civil war at that point. You're encouraging them to come out and kill you.
Yeah, it's that whole thing of like, they said how the SJWs would try to go after people's jobs and shit.
Yeah.
Try to get people fired or whatever. And that's kind of the next logical step, is them fucking trying to get your kids taken away. And dude, if that fucking starts happening, holy shit, dude. I can imagine what I would do if that fucking happened to me for no real reason other than I don't believe in fucking far left fucking rhetoric.
Yeah, so here's what he said. Well, I really can't believe what a neo-Nazi I am right now. Thanks. All my efforts in life have been sufficiently ruined. Thanks, guys. At least the moral high ground favors you. I love it. Talking about how, like, it's just disturbing that they're going after this guy like that.
Yeah.
His comment after being stabbed, all I did was say the truth as far as I knew it, and an attempt upon my life was made. That's screwed up. Yeah, that's really...
Yeah, that's fucking horrible, dude.
What else is there to say?
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I mean,
so this guy, it's not even like he was at a fucking rally anywhere, dude.
Yeah, it was in front of his
Christ,
house.
Dude.
They were masked people waiting outside of his house with box cutters, trying to kill him.
Wow.
Oh, and so one of his friends was, dude, don't get involved with that racist shit. What's wrong with you?
Wow. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Just insanity. And then this one I thought was just kind of funny. A pastor wants president's name removed from Washington Jackson parks over ties to slavery. So there should no longer be any Washington Park or Jackson Park throughout the country.
Nah.
They should just remove all of them. Just change all the names. Yeah, it's just that's silly.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, man.
It seems like it was just like a huge push this last couple weeks.
Yeah. That's the latest thing.
Because usually I don't like to fucking dwell on the SJW stuff like that extent, but like, Jesus, it's like it's unavoidable insanity. Like,
yeah, and it's never going to stop. Like, it's nothing that can possibly be done that these people are going to be like, okay, that's enough. I guess we're good now. Like, no, they're going to keep pushing for more and more ridiculous shit because they're fucking insane, dude.
Well, and we need to take the schools back. They really need to like start going through and auditing these schools and just firing professors who are teaching this kind of stuff because it's not true.
Right.
A lot of it is just simply false. It's just not accurate information, and we shouldn't be allowing schools that take public funds to teach students things that just aren't true.
Yeah, which is essentially propaganda, dude. Like, it's fucking ridiculous.
And there's no reason that should be questionable or wrong or inappropriate. Like, I don't agree that there's any reason that would be unacceptable.
Yeah.
That would be a start just to kind of like put a stop to where, it getting worse.
Yeah. I would say the stuff that's happening at Evergreen is a perfect example of how fucking sideways it's gotten.
And instead of threatening to cut public funding, they need to literally just go through, see what's going on. Any teacher that's teaching social justice courses needs to be removed from the school and prevented from teaching in anywhere or having access to children.
Did you watch that? I sent you a thing from what's his name, Benjamin Boyce. He kind of broke down that one professor from Evergreen's little fucking speech that he made. Did you ever actually watch that or no?
Yeah, I forgot that one.
Okay, but yeah, that guy is one of the guys that I'm thinking needs to get fucking fired, dude. Because that guy's a fucking idiot, dude. But yeah, if you get a chance, watch that because Boyce does a really good job. Are you familiar with that guy or not really, Benjamin Boyce?
Is he the one that decided to go anyway?
Right. Yeah, well, no, he's a student there, but he's a dude that like kind of went back to school after being out in the real world for a while, and he's basically and yeah, he went back and he was attending Evergreen, and he's kind of watching it and kind of fucking like how crazy these motherfuckers are. But on that one that I sent you, he does a really good job of breaking down like how fucking insane what that professor is saying. The professor's name is Zoltan. I forget what his last name was, but it's Zoltan something. And
you had me as Zoltan. I was just like, for
sure. Yeah, but yeah, he just points out like yeah, he does a good job of pointing out like, look, this doesn't make any sense. He's contradicting himself here. Like, what he's saying is fucking ridiculous. But he does a really good job of breaking it down.
And what is it? There's this Asian dude who was big in the SJW crowd for a while, and he had this big long thing. He made a post about thought stopping.
Ian Miles Chong.
I don't know. I don't think that's the guy I'm talking about. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's not.
Well, he was big in Gamergate. Like Gamergate, he was actually more of an SJW type, and he ended up flipping.
No, this is not the guy I'm talking about. But it was this guy who was like popular for a minute, like well known for a couple minutes essentially.
Mm.
And he made this big thing about how like anytime you start thinking, the SJWs might be wrong, you have to learn how to stop those thoughts and just not think.
Mm. Right.
It was like absurd, like treatise I've ever seen.
Right. Like just don't think about it. Just yeah.
Like if there's anything that says brainwashed more than like, yeah, whenever something contradicts what you believe to be true, you should never consider it. You should simply stop yourself from thinking about it.
Right. So fucking good. Like, don't think for yourself. We'll think for you.
Well, how do you say that and not have it sound creepy to you? Like when you're saying, oh,
exactly. Yeah, but to actually buy it and actually be like, yeah, okay, yeah, I don't know, man. I guess it's all we can do is try to teach the younger kids to fucking think for themselves and not to fucking just blindly fucking believe shit. Which is kind of what I tell my son, dude. Like, dude, question everything. Like, I tell him even question anything I tell him. You know what I mean? Just to make sure he understands.
I was going to say, aren't the high school generation right now, the ones that are in high school, are super conservative.
Right. Yeah.
Like, way more than any generation in the recent history. Like, just way conservative. From what I've
heard. So. Yeah, no, I've played stuff for my son every once in a while. Stuff that's relatively tame, but is ridiculous. Like, I don't do anything to set it up. I'll just have him watch it, just to see what his reaction is. Yeah. And again, he's not afraid to speak his mind. So like, he knows I'm not expecting anything. I just want to kind of fucking see what he thinks. And yeah, he has a lot of pushback. He's like, dude, that's dumb. Like, that's ridiculous. So it's encouraging to know that, the younger generation seems to be.
Yeah, I think if you root out a lot of the ridiculousness, because you don't want to try to make it like so that colleges are just right wing only. But I think you need to go through and find like the teachers who are teaching the propaganda stuff that's just blatant propaganda and not really any sort of useful information, and just not allow them to be teachers, take away their license,
and
not allow the schools public funding to hire them at all.
Right. Yeah, it's one thing if you lean that way, but you're for one thing, not espousing anything as fact when it's just, your political opinion, but actually saying what any other sides or any pushback, any opposition to what your fucking opinion is. Like, you got to be teaching it all, if you're going to fucking do any of it. You can't just fucking put out your rhetoric as fucking fact.
There was the "we need some muscle over here" chick that didn't get fired.
Like they were like, Melissa Click.
Yeah, and they were like, we can't really. I don't think they fired her. They did some other thing.
Yeah, no, they ended up firing her, but she got a job at fucking Gonzaga like immediately.
Yeah, and so it's like there's no penalty for these people.
Yeah. Yeah, that chick was ridiculous. Like, did you ever actually look into like what she did and what she fucking like? Basically, her thing was like going to fucking Twilight fucking conventions and reporting on shit like that. Like, that was her fucking thesis.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, her classes were about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It was absurd.
Yeah.
Like, none of it was okay.
Right. Yeah, it's fucking. Yeah, the fact that she was at a fucking whatever, she wasn't a full professor. I don't think it was like an associate professor, but she was a fucking associate professor at the journalism school, and she was trying to pull that shit on a fucking journalist, dude.
I thought that was pretty funny too.
Yeah,
like, of all the people there who should know that that's blatantly illegal,
right?
Like, you really are like, you should be the one who's telling everybody else, no, you can't do that. That the guy does have a right to be here and to film.
Yeah, and he even brought it up to her. Do you remember that? And she's like, "Oh, I get that. I'm a journalism, whatever, but you got to go." Like, fuck you. Like,
Yeah.
it's fucking wrong.
Well, and then that guy apparently had a lot of heat over that. Like people would like threaten him when he was out at bars and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, random dude bros would be like, "Dude, bro, you're fucking racist, bro. We're gonna kick your ass, bro. You better get out of here."
Yeah, yeah. It was ridiculous. Yeah. Although it was kind of funny, dude. I used to work at a place that did surveys, like political surveys, over the phone, and we did one in Missouri. And holy shit, you would not believe how many people in Missouri were fucking furious about what went down there, dude. That did not agree with fucking Melissa Click and her fucking group at all, dude.
Oh.
That were fucking embarrassed by what happened there, dude.
The media is completely misrepresentative of the majority. Like the vast majority of people in the country, I don't think would agree with any of what's going on.
Yeah,
like, I think you get more like 80 or 90% of the people would be like, "That's unacceptable."
Yeah, yeah.
It's just
that's
it's
trying
not
to
being
put it out there. Yeah.
It's being covered up. It's not being reported. It's being misrepresented and lied blatantly about in the news so that people don't hear what really happened.
Yeah. I think a lot more people are finally aware of that, and I think that shows in how
Trump is telling everybody exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, did you hear his comments about Virginia, the most recent thing he was talking? He was like, "Look, I saw it. I watched the video. There were people peacefully protesting. Yes, some of them were bad people, but there were also some good people, and they were all being peaceful and following the Constitution."
Wow.
And he's like, and then you have these other group of people, and I'm sure some of them are good people, but a lot of them appear to be bad people, and they started attacking them. And we can't pretend that this isn't a problem on both sides.
Yeah, that whole thing of him saying on all sides was something that fucking people freaked out about. Like, no, it was fucking. In fact, other than the fucking kid that lost his mind and jumped in his car and did that, this was basically all set off by the fucking leftists, by the fucking Antifa and them, man.
Yeah. Well, everything I've seen so far, video wise, and from people who are there, who are like reliable sources for news, which at this point is like anybody who's not in a news organization is more reliable.
Right. No, I've been saying it for a long time now. It's fucking sad that I trust RT more than I trust any fucking CNN or any of these fucking other ones. Yeah. Even though I'm fully aware that the RT is essentially a propaganda wing for the fucking Moscow, I still trust them more than I trust CNN.
Or like Rebel Media, which is like blatantly right wing, like super right wing, or Breitbart. It's like,
but yeah,
if you just filter out any of the right wing opinion stuff, you can figure out what really happened.
Right. Like you just have to and I think they're closer to being actual journalists, not by a whole lot, but I think they make at least a little bit of an attempt at it.
I have a problem with them. They report facts, and then they try to what do you call it? Not
spin it.
Yeah, and then they basically add spin. So like you have to ignore the spin. If you're not capable of like figuring out where the spin is, you can't get any accurate information from them.
Right.
But you can figure out the bare bones of what actually occurred. And then you have to look at all, you just have to ignore all their opinion part.
Yeah, it's like they kind of like report and then editorialize, like in the same, like almost in back-to-back sentences, basically.
Whereas universally, the information you're getting on like television news is none of it's fact.
Right.
Like they're blatantly telling things that are not true.
Yeah, they're so untrustworthy, and they still don't like. It shows in the polls how untrustworthy they're viewed nowadays, and they still have done nothing to alter their behavior.
Well, and here's the funny thing: they're the ones doing the polls, and even they can't manage to figure out how to make it skew enough in their favor, that anybody would even remotely think they were worthy of trust.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter how biased and what group we try to fucking kind of cherry pick who we're actually polling. we can't make ourselves look good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it's in their own interest to skew those polls, and even they can't figure out how to do it right.
Yeah,
like that right there.
Yeah, because there would be these polls that they would use where it was like 80% Democrat, like, you know, like far left-wing Democrats, and then they would use those polls as being like a reliable poll. Like, no, that's incredibly biased. Like, if you're doing a poll, you have to have pretty much an equal amount of all these different demographics, dude, or pretty close to equal.
You have to do the best you can to get an actual random sampling of people in order for them to be usable or in any way accurate.
Right. But again, they're not really concerned with accuracy. They're just concerned with,
they're talking about like
telling their narrative.
20 or 30% approval rating for Trump, and it's like, no, it's probably closer to 40 or 50.
Yeah.
Reality.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be, yeah. I would love to see what the sample was there, because it's probably the same thing I'm talking about.
Well, I was watching Six Hexenhammer, who's remarkably astute when it comes to politics, and he was saying like there's one polling firm he actually believes now, because the rest are just like systematically so far off and wrong. And the one he believes is saying something like 40-something% is the approval rating for Trump, which is a little bit low, but not bizarrely. I think, if anything, that's going to go up the more the left wing kind of just keeps hammering on him.
Right.
I think a lot more people are going to be like, all right, you know what? I'm done with this, and I'm going to go full on Trump. I think that's going to do the opposite of what they're thinking.
Yeah. The fucking constant propaganda against him, I think, it's going to end up people getting tired of it, dude. I mean, you're going to have, obviously, the far leftists that are going to be there no matter what. But yeah, I think a lot of people that are kind of iffy are going to end up fucking realizing, like, well, maybe he's not as horrible as these fucking people are saying, dude. Maybe he actually cares a little, you know?
You know, I also think 2018 elections are going to go way right.
Right. Yeah, I'd be surprised if they didn't.
I think the Republicans are definitely not going to lose any ground in the Senate or the House, and they may end up with a supermajority by the end of it.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised, man. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, I think there's so many seats that are both left wing and unreliable Republican that are going to go to new people that are definitely like right wing.
Right.
I think that's going to, and I don't think that's a good thing.
Right.
Definitely middle of the road. I'm definitely a centrist. There are a lot of conservative values I have, but there are also a lot of left-wing values. Like, you know, I'm definitely all for like gay marriage. I don't like the moral laws. I don't think the government needs to tell me I'm a naughty boy and then put me in a box because they think I'm a naughty.
Right.
You know, if I'm not hurting anybody, I think I should be able to do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
And everyone else should be able to too.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the way. Where I live in Arizona is kind of the attitude of most people is fucking, you know, do whatever the fuck you want. I mean, like, just as long as it's not fucking with anybody else. So I mean, we come up as Republican, but we're closer to like somewhere between that and Libertarian, I think, as far as fucking government being hands off. You know. But I guess that's why I'm always confused. Why I've actually seriously considered the possibility that my social media feed comes from some alternate universe. Is because the fucking world that it portrays, I don't really see in my fucking daily life, dude.
Well, yeah, you gotta remember the internet just exaggerates everything.
Right.
Because people don't have to put on the nice face, because they get to be anonymous, and you get to get a much more realistic point of view from people. So, like, you might talk to a guy, and he might be the nicest man in the world, and he always minds his P's and Q's, and he's very appropriate out in public and stuff. And then he gets on the internet, and he's like, "Fucking, I hate niggers. Let's exterminate Jews." And you're like, "Oh, well, maybe."
Yeah, it is emboldening, I guess. I don't know, man. I've never.
Well, I think it's a good thing.
It could help them kind of vent a little, I guess, and avoid them from going on fucking shooting sprees.
I'd much rather some piece of shit go off to like the Daily Stormer and spout off whatever nonsense he wants to, and they can all talk about it and commiserate with how awful it is that the fucking black people are equal.
Right.
And then just piss and moan about it to their friends online, and then they never really do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's like if you push all that shit underground, you know, then that's when shit starts getting violent, dude. When they fucking get frustrated and they can't express themselves and they're fucking bullshit.
Well, the first thing that happens is that they're going to lose a lot of the members that are sort of like half, you know, like all their moderate members are going to be gone. So the people who are like, yeah, black people are awful, but we should probably just, you know, learn to live with it.
Right, live and let live.
Suddenly don't want anything to do with it, and they just disappear. And you're left with people who are like, no, we should be arming ourselves and preparing for the fucking the call of God to fucking cleanse the you know, so
right.
Those are the only people that are left, and that's not a good thing, because then they're all talking to each other only, and there's no moderating force involved.
Yeah.
And then you get people, you know, you're going to get a lot more people like that kid, except it's going to be planned out and well thought out, and it's going to take out a lot more than one person.
Right. Yeah, and those people tend to have a lot of fucking guns and fucking munitions to begin with.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not a good idea, because they can fucking inflict a lot. Probably way better at fucking terrorism than any fucking Muslim terrorists are, dude.
Well,
like, they would be able to fucking really coordinate some shit to really fuck shit up, dude.
Billy Bob can hide in a crowd a lot easier than Akbob.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah, but even then, like I'm saying, even without that, they can fucking like a lot of them have had military training at some level, or at least know a lot about fucking guns and shit, you know, and just know how to fucking coordinate an attack, dude.
Do you know anything about preppers?
Oh yeah, a little. The Doomsday Preppers, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of noise coming from your end.
Oh shoot! I forget the mic picks up everything, dude.
Yeah,
sorry, I should have muted it.
Oh no, I was just waiting for it to pass.
Okay. All right, I think we're good now. Yeah, I apologize. I should have muted that. I forgot how much the mic picks up here. Because I can't hear it because I got fucking headphones and earbuds in. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm just occasionally in the background. That's so.
Yeah, every once in a while the door will open. I really should start just doing this in my room. Yeah. I don't know why I haven't, just because I'm too lazy to pick up a fucking laptop and move it.
Yeah. But I was gonna say, like, there are people who aren't even extremists in the Midwest who just for fun go take classes on like bullet wounds. Mm-hmm. You know, like how to treat and deal with like bullet and stab wounds. Like just for a weekend like thing, a family get together kind of thing where they'll take the kids out and they'll go to like special classes where they learn how to do like military first aid for trauma.
Wow.
Just for fun. And like if you think that's just like regular people who aren't even like, you know, racist or supremacists or extremists in any sort of fashion.
Right.
You know, that's not uncommon in the Midwest.
Right.
Just imagine the training that these other guys are doing.
Yeah, the ones that are actually yeah, it's scary, man.
Yeah.
Although, yeah. I would love to see a fight though between like I don't know, let's say like a 3-to-1 ratio, like 3 Antifa guys for every one, like let's say free speech guy or whatever. I still think the fucking 3-to-1 isn't enough for Antifa to take anyone out. So I think they're all a little fucking like kind of cowardly and
don't know
really how to fight,
and that doesn't help. Now, if you're talking about with guns, it would be over in a minute, and Antifa would probably win.
Right.
Because that's a huge numbers advantage. But like if you're talking hand to hand, it might go either way.
Mm-hmm. I really think it would take a lot more than that for them to overwhelm in an actual like hand to hand, or you know, even just with sticks and shit, dude. You know,
if the people on the right wing followed tactics and basically boxed up, you know, formed like a turtle or like a box, so that they could maintain a longer front with fewer people, and spread Antifa's forces out so that they were weaker at any given point, they would probably have a better chance of winning. And I think that you're likely to get that kind of tactics more from right wing than from left wing.
Right.
Whereas with that kind of numbers, the left wing, like, they'd want to basically form a wedge and punch through and try to split up the forces of the right wing and try to get them into as many small chunks as they can, because they can overwhelm them easier.
Right.
Whereas so that would really be the deciding factor would be, could the right wing stay in one cohesive group and maintain enough order to stay in that group and let Antifa just wear themselves out on the outside?
Yeah.
Or would the Antifa break them into smaller chunks and take them apart and eat them up piece by piece?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be interesting to plug that into one of those players that they have, dude. I don't know how you would actually enter anything in as fucking like, there's a bunch of these guys, but they don't really know how to fight, and then there's these other guys that there's not as many of them, but they kind of know how to fight. Just figure out fucking
like, just regular women, like, hold off 3 or 4 Antifa dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Just pushing them down, like they couldn't get past them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're calling it kind of cowardly, especially by themselves. Like, the only time they act tough is when they're a
thing. It was just physically they couldn't handle it. Like, they weren't strong enough.
Oh man, but yeah, definitely. I don't know of anything that's happening anywhere near where I live, but that's kind of the reason I want to start going back to the gym again.
If I'm not mistaken, Arizona gun laws are pretty in favor of the right wing.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah,
like,
they're very.
You can open carry loaded guns. If I'm not mistaken, like, you can actually have bullets in your handgun on your hip wherever you want.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's places that say, like, no handguns required, but or no handguns allowed. Yeah. But even that's more of a courtesy than anything. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have to not bring your handgun in with you.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you'll never see that a lot of Antifa behavior in an area like that, because everybody's armed, and the minute you come swinging a stick at somebody with your fucking mask on. Plus, I believe you guys also have really good stand your ground laws.
Yeah.
Let me look that up.
Yeah, plus our knife laws. The knife laws are almost non-existent here too, man. Like, there's really almost no laws when it comes to knives, dude.
Yeah.
So I guess it's never happening in my neck of the woods, but
and also in Arizona you have stand your ground laws. So the difference between, like, say, California and Arizona is, in California, if Antifa comes running at you with a stick and you shoot them, suddenly you're the bad guy, and you might go to jail for that. You probably will.
Like, you have to match them and whatever their weapon is, basically. Like, is anything more
if there's any deadly possibility that you could have escaped without violence, you should have taken it. Which is unrealistic in most of those situations. It's
right.
It's milliseconds to make a decision, and it's an extremely terrifying situation to be in, where somebody is coming at you and trying to take your life or physically harm you for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly reasonable in a situation where somebody is charging it with a bat, saying, "I'm going to fucking kill you, Nazi," for you to shoot them with a gun. So anywhere where you stand your ground laws, like in Arizona, people are just, and no one is going to go to jail for it.
Yeah. Although stand your ground sometimes gets taken advantage of. I know Florida.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, sometimes it goes wrong, but just imagine in Arizona, if a bunch of Antifa grabbed baseball bats and charged a right-wing free speech rally, screaming death to Nazis.
Yeah, definitely be within our rights. We're not going to fucking try to get the bats away from them.
And the police would arrest the survivors, not the people who shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they're never going to do that there because it would just be the dumbest possible fucking choice.
Yeah.
And that'd be if the police themselves didn't start shooting.
Right.
Whereas in California, if you could have potentially ducked into a business or walked away, and it's a fantasy land,
right?
Like,
yeah, it's
the way they
basically
look
like a world where this world is really just a video game where you can pause it and fucking think about what you're gonna do.
Well, I mean, if somebody's coming at you with a knife, but there's no reason you're not stuck in a dead end alleyway with no escape. That doesn't mean you shouldn't still try to shoot that person in order to maintain your safety. That's not the correct choice.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
But in California, you go to jail for that, and it's like homicide or not homicide, but manslaughter. They'll try to get you for manslaughter for that stuff.
Yeah,
it's one of the reasons why I want to get out of California, because I don't agree with that. I think that's absolutely ridiculous and basically in defiance of, if not the letter of, but the spirit of the Second Amendment, which is essentially stating that people have the right to defend themselves and their property.
Yeah.
Why you have a gun is because you have the right to defend yourself and you have the right to defend your property.
Yeah. No, that's California has definitely gone pretty sideways. Like, well, New York and California, they've just gone like super liberal, man, into this.
I mean, in California, there was the lawsuit that the guy filed against the school because he fell through the fucking skylight and could no longer be a criminal.
Right.
And won because he could no longer break into places.
Yeah.
Because he was too injured. And like that was even entertained blows my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that wasn't just thrown out. Not only not thrown out, but it fucking worked.
Well, they had to actually pass laws. In California, they actually had to pass laws directly just preventing people from going after the victim of the crime.
Wow.
In order to stop criminals from suing the people they victimized in order to get like damages.
Wow.
Because they were doing it so often.
Well, at least they're finally doing something.
Well, it was it was a big push in order to get that, because the judges are so corrupt that they were not like throwing them out in the first place. Like, you raped that woman, you can't now turn around and like fucking sue her for damages because you got injured in the arrest. What are you doing?
That's fucking or you fucking punched this person enough to disfigure them, and you ended up breaking your hand, and you're suing them for your broken hand.
Well, and then not only was that, not only are you being, as the victim being sued, it costs you a ton of money to defend. So even if you win, you're still losing a lot at the same time.
Yeah, actually having to pay your defense costs. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you'll see stuff at like Berkeley, and I wouldn't be surprised if they pull some shit at like San Francisco. I probably won't be there. I mean, it's like an hour away from where I live, but I'm like, my temper is such that it would not be a good idea for me to go.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of. Yeah, well, again, nothing's likely to happen here, but like I kind of want to be there for something like that if something like that went down. But yeah, I also don't know how well the my ability to rage has subsided over the years.
If some of the stuff I've seen where they're like beating up on old men and women and shit, like that would set me off to the point where I don't think I would.
I'm gonna snap, dude. Yeah, if I saw something like that, it would be really tough, dude. I'd fucking go fucking berserker, dude.
Yeah, you just see like this huge fat dude running around beating Antifa with other Antifa. It would just be no one wants
just grabbing one fucking vegan Antifa and beating all the other vegan Antifas with him.
Exactly, like pick up a real skinny one as a beating stick and use him to whoop on the rest. If I lose my temper, like, I mean, I'm much better now than I was when I was younger. When I was younger, I had a much shorter temper, but
that's what I wonder. Like, because my, for the longest time, actually, probably still, my first reaction is to fucking lash out and just fucking fuck shit up. I've gotten to the point where that gets dismissed almost immediately, but it's pretty much still my first gut instinct reaction. And it's taken years of fucking meditation to get it where I can dismiss that right away. But if something like that was happening, I don't know how easy it would be to fucking dismiss that.
Oh, yeah. Just random pepper spraying people and like attacking. And usually Antifa tends to attack weaker targets. Like they tend to go after like elderly people, women, children.
Yeah,
And
they're
it's just
fucking coward.
put myself in that situation. I know I'm going to end up being arrested, so I'm like, I'll just pass.
Right,
I don't
right.
necessarily agree with 100% of what the people who are going down there to protest are doing. I think that there are better ways to handle it. I think the protests are admirable in the sense that they're just like, no, everybody has the right to freedom of speech. We're gonna make ourselves, heard. We're gonna enforce that we get to have this right, and in that's admirable, and I approve of that. I think they would have much more success suing the shit out of all the people that keep trying to prevent it.
Right.
If you go after the money, you're more likely to win at this point. It would be tactically more sound. That's how they brought down the KKK. That's how they brought down a lot of neo-Nazi organizations and white racist biker gangs. They brought down Al Capone with tax things. It's go for the funding that's supporting the evil, and that's what's going to take the evil out. So go for the funding.
Yeah, if you don't have grounds to take away their freedom, man, go after them. Go after their fucking money, dude.
Honestly, I think sue the people whoever's getting the funding for Antifa, because they're openly collecting funds. Right. And once you start that lawsuit, you're going to get legal access to all sorts of information about all sorts of Antifa members that are trying to stay hidden that you can then publicize.
Right.
You're going to get a fair amount. Even if you lose, you're still going to take down a lot of their money is going to go into legal fees.
Right. Plus,
it's going to be public. It's going to be public that you're not physically assaulting them; that you're just going after them for breaking the law.
Right. Yeah. Plus, like you said, finding out who was actually financing all this shit. And
going after the universities.
Yeah.
Go after the university's money.
Right. Or the mayor of fucking Berkeley, or whoever's calling the cops off at inopportune moments.
Yeah. Go after those mayors. So you're endangering public safety. We're filing a lawsuit as the victims of that issue, and just make all these lawsuits and keep going. And you probably will lose a lot of them, but it would cost you less and do more damage to them over time.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, I want to see some more legal action taken against people who are directly committing felonies.
Yeah, because I can't believe, how much shit they're getting away with at this point. It's just ridiculous, dude.
Yeah. Well, and the federal government has decided long ago that they're not required to enforce the law. Just so that everybody knows, you can sue the city and the state for calling off the police like they did. You probably won't win, but you'll cost them a lot of money, and that's the goal.
Right.
And you'll drag them through the mud publicly, including whoever the incumbent politician is going to get their name out there to a lot of people who are all going to be like, wait, this guy called the cops off? Do I want to vote for that guy next time? Probably not.
Right.
So you're doing, you're not necessarily going to just get the money, but you want to make everybody public. You want to make every situation public. And doing that in large amounts that I think have a lot more effect.
Yeah. Finding out exactly, because they're going to have to disclose, what happened when and why. Maybe not the why necessarily.
Who received what order, when they received it, and then people are going to have to justify giving those orders.
Right.
And those orders will be made entirely public. And it gives a situation for the police chief or the police officers to say, we thought that was wrong.
Right.
And that's going to have a lot more impact with the community than anything else.
I wonder what the laws are on that. Let's say that you're the police chief or whoever, and that it's an order that could easily lead to, bodily injury or loss of life.
Well, I think it would.
Do you have an obligation to refuse that order, or do you have to follow that order even if you know? I'm kind of curious what the.
You have to follow that order. But see, there's the thing. If you make enough a stink about it, you make it big enough in the public, that might get changed.
Right.
Where the police chief might no longer have that requirement where they might be able to say, hey, look, these orders were directly putting other people's lives at risk, so we chose not to follow them.
Okay.
They're not military, and they shouldn't be treated as the military. The police should have the option to decide for themselves if an order is within the interests of public safety.
Right. Yeah,
So
I think that's kind of the way it should be.
They should be able to say, no, that's not what we're going to do. That's not safe for the citizens of this city, and that's who we serve. We don't serve you, the mayor. We serve the city. Or we don't serve you, the government. We serve the people of this city or this state. And I think that would make more sense because we want a diffusion of power. We don't want like this absolute authority bullshit that's going on.
Yeah.
We want the government to lose as much power as it can from bottom to top.
Yeah, or at least have it spread out enough, dude.
Well, I mean, yeah, essentially it's the militarization of the police that's to blame for that kind of thing.
Right.
And what works in the theater of war, where you really do have to have one guy who's at the top and everybody else has to do exactly what he says for the best of everyone, where you could lose a lot more than just, 100 lives. You lose 1,000 if everybody just stopped following orders. Everything goes cockeyed in that kind of situation. That's not the same as police work. Police work and military work are two separate things.
Right.
And they're treated more and more similarly, and they really shouldn't be.
Yeah. It's almost like treating the fucking the general population as fucking enemy combatants instead of people that you're supposed to be serving and protecting. Yeah,
and you used to have police would walk beats. They would get to know the people in their community. They would walk around and talk to people, and people could go over and talk to them and have positive interactions.
Right.
But a lot of budget cuts and a lot of militarization. Now they're always driving around. Nobody gets to talk to the cops. The cops don't get to talk to the people.
Yeah, or the only time they're interacting with them is when they're investigating a fucking crime or something.
Or taking somebody to jail. And it just creates more and more hostility both ways.
Right. Yeah, where the fucking cops start thinking of the fucking people as just a bunch of fucking animals. And then the people start viewing the cops as oppressors, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And it's the other thing is the privatization of prisons.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, dude. I cannot believe that fucking happened, dude. The fact that they're going to have corporations that basically are going to make more money if there's more prisoners and not think that's going to result in fucking corruption of some kind.
Yeah, and it's absolutely right now a system that's basically taking young black men who, some of whom have committed real crimes, some of whom have committed, moral crimes. Like they just took some drugs. I don't think those dudes should be in jail.
Yeah.
Not obviously somebody who stabbed somebody, shot somebody, who fucking beat some random person up for no reason, who raped someone. Those are people that belong in jail. But somebody who took a little crack, I don't fucking care. Somebody who fucking was slinging dick or pussy and fucking making money off of having sex with people, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Pimp needs to go, but I don't care about the hooker.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Although I don't even know if the fucking... Well, yeah. No, I guess the pimp does some...
the pimps are bad. They'll fucking beat the girls up if they don't give them like 80%, 90% of what they make every night.
Yeah.
They're not really protected. They're just stringing them out on fucking cocaine, heroin, crack, whatever, meth.
They're just using them up, Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Anything that's, essentially a victimless crime or between two consenting adults, should not be things that are put in fucking prison.
Yeah, the moral crime thing needs to stop. We need to stop having moral laws.
Yeah.
There's if everybody gets tested and everybody, has sex consensually for money, then no one's getting harmed.
Right.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, or the drug laws. The drug laws should just be pretty much, I don't know. I think they should just be abolished to begin with because the war is never going to fucking be won.
Yeah, I think we can say safely at this point the government lost that war.
Right. And it was never going to fucking win, dude. It's just not. not possible, man.
You've been fighting that war
and
for
the
30
fact
years,
that
and you still haven't stamped out drugs. In fact, you haven't made any noticeable decrease in the amount of drugs being used at all.
right,
I'd say you lost.
yeah. Right. There are always going to be people that want to get high, and there's always going to be people that are willing to supply it.
And if you regulate
so no
it,
matter how many people you take down, somebody's going to pop up to take their place, dude.
If you regulate it and you find ways to test for it when people are, if people are driving while they're high on whatever, and you deal with that, and those are crimes that put people at risk.
Right. Yeah, and just think of how much taxes they're missing out on by not having it fucking, legal and taxed.
Exactly.
Look at Colorado, man. Colorado's raking a fucking shitload of money from taxing. Well, I assume California too, but I remember reading a thing about how much money Colorado raked in by legalizing marijuana.
Well, they raked in so much money that the state had to actually give some of the tax money back.
Oh wow!
Like legitimately had to give
That's
the businesses back some of the money. If I'm not mistaken,
that's awesome.
Somebody's probably gonna fucking leave a comment. And tell me
oh wait, no, I remember it being like, way more than they even expected. Like it was ridiculous how much money or how much product was moved.
Yeah, but I think if they're gonna with the drugs, what they need to do is every 2 or 3 years legalize a new one.
Mm-hmm.
So you start with weed. Let's get that legalized federally. And then maybe the next one will be like shrooms, and then cocaine.
Kind of work it up because I can see problems with having heroin be legal. Like I wouldn't have that anywhere near. Like that needs to be behind like bulletproof glass and like you know what I mean. Like because I know how fucking sideways heroin fucking addicts get. Like they'll fucking rob the shit out of those places.
Heroin addict can still keep your job because it wasn't illegal.
Right. Yeah, I assume the price will come down at least a little bit.
Oh, substantially.
Yeah.
Although
no matter what, the heroin habit's going to get ridiculously expensive pretty quick. But
you used to spend a minimum of like $50, $40 for like an eighth of weed, and you never knew what quality you were going to get, what type it was, how potent it would be, whether it was laced with anything.
Right.
But you're spending like an average of like $50 for like an eighth of weed. You can go buy an eighth for as low as like $20, and it's going to be pretty decent quality. Like that's not going to be the highest quality, but it's not going to be dirt weed.
Right.
And it's not going to be laced with anything, and you're going to know exactly whether it's sativa or indica or some blend. You're going to know what the percentages of indica and sativa are, and you're going to get to check it out before you buy it and make sure it smells right and that there's no like fucking. You can look and see that it's not full of stems and seeds and shit.
Right. Yeah. The fact of it being a legitimate business just fucking, makes it a way better market, man. Instead of just buying it from some dude who got it from some other dude and that smuggled it across from Mexico or wherever.
And that weed has never been up somebody's butt.
Right.
That's a huge thing, no. But even with like something like heroin per se, knowing that you're getting a chemically pure amount, knowing that if 10 milligrams is 10 milligrams, regardless of what kind you get from where.
Right.
Knowing exactly like having like standard information on how much to give yourself and that kind of thing.
Right.
There's a bunch of stuff that would improve and protect people in a lot of respects.
Yeah, I mean, how many overdoses are because somebody didn't realize how pure the shit was that they just got?
Exactly.
Pretty much all of them, other than
or somebody
trying to kill themselves.
Cut it with the wrong chemical somewhere way back down the line, and nobody's realized it yet.
Right.
Or they just don't care because they have all this heroin they have to sell anyway.
Yeah, actually, that reminds me of. I actually have an old friend of mine. I found out. I haven't actually talked to the guy, but like apparently, this dude's got a hold of some bad shit and shot it, and now he's kind of fucked in the head. Like he didn't die, but he's like brain damage from it. apparently his cousin knowingly sold him the bad shit, dude.
Yep.
Yeah. And I know his cousin too, and I'm not surprised. His cousin was a fucking piece of shit. They don't fucking avoid any of that kind of shit from happening, dude.
You know, same thing with
that brain damage.
Same thing with cocaine and crack. There's a lot of times when they'll be cut with the wrong stuff, or you won't know that you got really pure stuff because you've been getting stuff that was cut way more prior to that. And you're buying from somebody else now, and suddenly like one rock is way more than one rock was before.
Right. Yeah. Or like you said with the gummies, how people are fucking, you know, or what do you call them? The edibles. I mean, gummies are part of the edibles, I guess. But yeah. Yeah. Apparently, who was it? Joey Diaz, or the comedian, gave one to like Pauly Shore, like just a piece of one.
Oh yeah, fucked him up.
Yeah, did you hear about that?
Pauly Shore was warned though, dude. Tom Segura called it or was talking with him, and you know, Pauly Shore mentioned he was going to Joey Diaz, and Tom Segura was like, "Fucking don't take the gummy." He was like, "Watch out for the gummy."
Then he did it anyway. Apparently, didn't even eat the whole thing. Like it was just the head, and it was too fucked up. Like he had to fucking leave.
Well, Joey Diaz
is hilarious.
I think what was it Joe Rogan was saying? He does like 450 milligram fucking teddy bears or whatever they are, gummy bears.
Yeah, he'll just fucking eat them like nothing, dude.
Yeah, because
Joey Diaz has fucking done a lot of shit over the years, dude.
Well, he used to, and I think he still does. He'll just dose people sometimes.
Right.
And it's like, what is wrong with you, man? Like that's not cool. You don't give somebody 100 milligram star wrapped in a 10 milligram star wrapper. Like, that's not okay.
God damn,
and he used to do shit like that. He'd only do it to people he knew and knew could handle it, but just weren't expecting it. But still.
Oh, right. Not like somebody that's never done it. Right.
And
I think no, this is just a regular gummy bear to somebody that's never gotten high or something.
Well, I think there's a different threshold between comics and how they'll treat each other and what's acceptable than between like most normal people.
That's true.
Comics seem to have a lot more like, but that was pretty fucking funny, you know? Like,
right. Like, I lost my mind and almost died, but you know what? It was kind of funny. No.
Like, I should have known better.
Right. Like, I should know that all comics were all fucking lunatics.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's that on Joey's side. Not that I'm saying it's right. I'm just saying I think he's in a unique situation where people are more forgiving.
Right. Yeah, because Pauly Shore didn't even really seem like mad about it. Like he was talking about it, but he didn't really seem like angry at it. He was just kind of telling a story, basically.
Yeah, he seemed like, well, you know, I took way too much apparently.
He was like, I couldn't even talk. He was literally like, I could not talk. I could not even speak.
I thought that was interesting. I never realized that Pauly Shore was related to Mitzi Shore of that.
Oh yeah, the one that owns the comedy store or comedy club. What the fuck is the name
comedy
of
the
store? Right?
Yeah, one of the biggest and most well-known venues in the country, essentially.
Yeah.
Definitely in LA, but even then, well known across the rest of the country is like the place to play.
Yeah, well, that was like the stepping stone to get on the Tonight Show back in the days when being on the Tonight Show was the end all be all of fucking comedy, dude.
Of course, and again, you know, in those days, you could do the same bit for decades.
Right. Yeah, up until it made it to the Tonight Show, and then you'd have to come up with some new shit. Yeah. Or you'd get a fucking huge development deal off of your 5-minute Tonight Show thing and fucking life just because you had a good show on the Tonight Show. Yeah. Well, like if Johnny called you over, then you were fucking in.
You know, look at how shitty the late night shows have gotten. Like their hosts are just garbage now. You're not getting Jay Leno even or like David Letterman, who are pretty darn good.
Yeah, I don't like any of them. Well, Colbert kind of, but even he's gotten way too fucking preachy and fucking.
Yeah. Oh, and his jokes are just so fucking duh.
Yeah.
Like they're just not even that clever. It's like
yeah. Well, that's the thing when you're thinking ideology. It really seems like comedy is second to the ideology nowadays.
Well, you either
You know
put
what I
one
mean?
or the other ahead. You either put one or the other.
Yeah,
ahead.
well, being funny should be the main goal.
Yeah,
and it doesn't seem like that's the case anymore.
it's like Kevin Smith. The people kept talking to him about like gay characters and what did he think about the gay community and did he think he was giving the right kind of message in his movies? And he's like, look, man, I'm super pro gay. My brother's gay. I absolutely do not intend to make anybody feel bad, but I write movies that are funny. First and foremost, they're funny. I hope.
Right.
I hope I'm making people laugh. And if I can whip a little bit of message in there, then that's amazing. But I can't. But that's not my priority.
Right.
My priority is just to make a good movie that makes people laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, that should be the attitude of everybody, but yeah, it's just not. And especially it seems like pretty much all of the late night hosts are fucking, or at least their writers are super left wing, dude.
Well, I think what's going on right now is a moral panic. I think Sticks that definitely made the right call on that. That right now we're going through a moral panic, and it's probably going to break within the next couple of years, and that it'll slowly get better. Then it'll get better, and then it'll slowly start to swing the other direction, and it'll become like the right wing will basically take over, and it'll be a different kind of moral panic, and they'll suddenly be the ones causing all this ridiculous nonsense. It's just not realistic.
Right.
It's the way the pendulum swings.
It's right. Swings back and forth. Yeah.
My concern is that the pendulum swung way, way, way more extremely this time than it has the last few.
Yeah.
And it seems to have not quite reached the crescendo. So I'm hoping it doesn't moral panic into a civil war. I'm hoping it's just moral panic, and then it finally breaks, and suddenly all the people who are basically responsible are just fucking ignored and laughed at.
Right. Although I think what makes it different now is the fact that the media now doesn't just report on stuff; it's influencing way more than it used to. And I think that's making it worse. I think it's making it way worse.
Yeah,
the fact that they're taking a side and fucking being, not even attempting to be objective.
Yeah, it used to be they just tell you what happened. Now they're like, here's what happened, and here's what you should think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, that last part is not your fucking job.
Right. Like, yeah, I know editorializing is going to, being completely objective is pretty much impossible, but it should be attempted anyway. And it's not anymore.
Being completely objective is impossible for an individual, but entirely possible for a group.
Yeah.
If you have a news studio and you have a good mix of people from all the different sides of the politics there, and you make it real clear that you're not looking for people's opinion, you're looking for news.
Right.
You're going to get a lot closer to purely objective than a lot of these places get.
Right. Yeah, but again, nobody even attempts it anymore. It's not even lip service isn't even paid to it anymore, dude.
Well, it used to be a point of pride, but then again, all these news stations used to be privately owned. Now they're owned by corporations.
Yeah.
It's something like 3 dudes own all of the news.
Yeah, it seems like that should fall under the monopoly.
It should.
Thing,
it's just not being enforced.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say should. It does. It's not being enforced.
Right.
We don't want oligopolies. We don't want monopolies. And they're both illegal. And there's many situations in which they are occurring that it should be falling under antitrust laws, and it's not. Google, for instance.
Right.
Google is definitely getting to the point where Microsoft was, where they're basically forming a monopoly.
Yeah.
And they should be being knocked down, and some of the businesses should have to break off.
Right. Yeah. Although they kind of seem like they're kind of sabotaging themselves. Maybe that's why.
It shouldn't have gotten to the point where they had that option.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
It's pretty obvious that. I mean, what other fucking browsers can compete at this point, or whatever else fucking they do, or with YouTube too. I mean, who really competes with YouTube, dude?
Well, that was the thing is like Google continually is buying more and more companies and taking over the means of everything.
Yeah,
like production, distribution, everything. Basically, when Google was trying to acquire like YouTube, that should have been stopped.
Right.
That should not have been allowed. It should have been like, nope, sorry, you can't buy YouTube. You can't buy all these different companies and control this much. It's too much.
Yeah, yeah. But nobody's doing anything because they're all fucking corrupt, basically.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, essentially, banks have been completely deregulated. They haven't really been re-regulated properly. Corporations are writing the laws for the country at this point, not the people. And so I think Trump was a big point in going back to the people being in charge.
Yeah, yeah.
Being more about what do the people want and what's right for the people.
Right.
Probably not the best step forward in that direction, but a big step forward in that direction.
Yeah, it was, as for all his flaws, I'm still glad Trump is there and it's not fucking Hillary or anyone else. Dude.
Well, he was the only one that was not a corporate candidate. Bernie
yeah, he's the only one that was kind of self-made.
Were both bullshit. They were both corporate.
Yeah.
Like, I think Bernie probably wanted to be a better president, but I don't think that he would have been. I think he would have fallen to the same thing as like Obama.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure Bernie's presidency would have been disastrous, dude. I'm fairly certain, dude.
I don't think he would have gotten anything done. I think he would have gotten Trump has really not gotten a lot. Well, Trump has gotten a lot done, but not. I mean, I think he would have gotten maybe 100th of what Trump has gotten done so far, if that.
Right.
So I think he just would have been stonewalled by everybody because he wasn't really a Democrat or a Republican to start with. He was independent.
Right.
And he should have run as an independent because Gary Johnson was an idiot.
Yeah, dude, that guy was a lunatic. I couldn't believe that guy made it. Somebody that fucking unbalanced and weird made it to fucking being that candidate.
The independents probably got paid off to let him do it because they don't want any real candidates. They don't want a third party.
Yeah.
It's too much money. Like, if you get a third party and eventually you'll get a fourth and eventually a fifth and a sixth, and you can't buy all that. Right. Eventually you run out of money trying to buy all the different parties.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's the way to go then. Let's get a bunch of them out there. Yeah.
The more parties we could get, the better.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd still like to kind of see it more of a representative, how do I describe it? Like, instead of having just this person running against this other person, have it be kind of representative of like, okay, this person got this many votes, like kind of pull it all together instead of having separate districts. And just have the top like 10, or depending on the state, but like the top whatever, just have that amount getting into like the House of Representatives. I don't know if I'm not explaining this right. I know I'm not. But
so you're saying instead of having an either or, you get like say
just have the top. Just have the top however many people.
Yeah. If you have like 15 places in the House of Representatives, you have 100 candidates. And the 15 who get the highest votes out of all of the different districts are the ones that go in and represent the state, not just from each district themselves.
Right. Yeah, it seems like that would be more representative than the way it is now.
Actually, it makes sense. I can't argue with
that. Yeah. That's not my original idea. I heard that somewhere, but I kind of glommed onto it. I'm like, that kind of makes sense.
Especially for like senators and for representatives, not necessarily for president because you've only got the one position, but or even for Senate because there's only 20 people run, 2 people that get the most votes out of everybody are the ones that first and second place go.
Yeah, in that case, you might get in states that are heavily either heavily Democrat or heavily Republican. That second place guy might be the opposite. Instead of having 2 Democrats or 2 Republicans, you might get the second guy. Being the other party.
Well, and not only that, it would make it harder to keep winning.
Right.
So you wouldn't get as many incumbents that have been in there for 20 years.
Yeah. It would be harder for McCain. I would love to see McCain get the fuck out, dude. I'm so tired of McCain being one of our senators, dude.
Yeah, was it Mike who was saying like they need to be in there for that long to be able to know what to do, and I'm like, that's just nonsense.
Right. Yeah,
like it shouldn't be that. Like, number one, it shouldn't be that complicated.
Right.
Like, first and foremost, if it's that complicated, the system needs to be redone.
Right.
But
yeah, but something that you can't really just figure out on the fly, then yeah, there's something wrong with the system.
I think figuring out how to write laws and stuff is something you should be studying before you run.
Right. Yeah, you should be aware of it and competent before you're allowed to run. And
that having a two-year stint as a rep or a representative or a senator should be something you put on your resume, because it's not the last job you ever do.
Right.
I think that's something you should be putting on your resume, and then going to work back in the public again. I think two terms for everything, nothing more than 8 years.
Yeah. I wouldn't be too averse to that. Yeah, I don't know. Nowadays, it seems like there's quite a few guys that will jump back and forth between public and private, and the people that do that seem to be really shitty people.
Oh yeah, well, they're right now it's so corrupt, and it's so easy for them to jump into public office, take advantage of it for a company, and then go collect their fee.
Right. Yeah, like think about like Cheney.
Do anything for it.
Like Cheney and Halliburton, like dude, that just seems like whatever the fuck he was doing does not seem right, dude.
Oh, Cheney is a vile piece of garbage. Like, that man is so disgusting.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people like that though. Like I said, is Soros really any different? Like I think it's pretty much the same thing, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than Cheney actually ran for public office on occasion, and Soros, I don't think he's ever served in public office, right?
Soros is making way more money privately than he would ever be able to make in public office. So there'd be no reason.
Right. Yeah, and plus he's got all the influence anyway. Like, why would he fucking bother? Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, man. Just something needs to change. And definitely, like I said, that would be more conducive. The way I was talking about how, the top 15 or however many, make it in, would make it more conducive for those third, fourth, and fifth parties or whatever to be able to be represented in a way that they just can't when it's this district and it's this person against this person, and only, the one gets in out of that district.
Well, and how much would that alleviate, the Republican-Democrat divide?
Right.
If you get, if you're, one of the senators from Arizona and you're a Republican, and that the other guy is just as likely to be a Democrat as a Republican, but you're still going to have to work with him for your state's best interests.
Right.
It suddenly becomes a lot harder to play the fucking, we're going to go down party lines for everything.
Yeah, it'd be a lot harder to be partisan and fucking get anything done. Yeah.
That stops being real acceptable after a while.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing how much just automatic hatred there is for whatever the other guy thinks.
Oh, it's the dehumanization and the vulcanization. People are like, they're not real people, they're the enemy, and then they just vulcanize. They get more solidified in that point of view the longer it goes.
Yeah.
And it's just nonsense,
Yeah, I think that's what the
internet
and all that's been good, but it's also like seems to have influenced that as well in a negative way.
I think a lot of people don't try to get to the heart of the SJWs. Like, there's the spokespeople who are probably mostly cons, but I think the average SJW is just somebody who just is terrified, who's been told all their life that there's this system, and you go to college, and then you get a good job, and then you go into suburbia and you live happy ever after, and you have your own kids, and they go to college, and so on and so forth. And suddenly, with this, everybody's fucked.
Right.
The upper middle class, the middle class, the lower class, we're all fucked, and the upper class are fucking everybody.
Right.
And so suddenly, it doesn't matter if you go to college, you still might end up working at fucking McDonald's, which is the worst job ever, according to most people's opinion.
Right.
Working fast food is probably the worst you could get. Much respect to people that do it. I can't imagine it. I think it'd be awful.
Right.
But suddenly that's just not true anymore because there's all the labor is going overseas. All the good jobs, everything that would have supported this system is suddenly being given away overseas and sent into, like, basically, suddenly there's like slaves in China that are doing all this labor, and so we don't have any of that labor being done in the U.S., and then, so there's no middle management, there's no upper management, none of that shit is being done here. So all of a sudden, all these jobs are gone, and they're not just lower class jobs; they're middle class and upper middle.
Yeah, like customer service jobs or IT jobs or shit. That's...
And so this Republican concept that we're going to deal with that by just having a service-based fucking economy is insane. It's just insane. That's just not ever going to generate enough money to pay the people that we have that need the work. But it's, suddenly that's what people are looking at. They're looking at, I might not have a retirement. I might have to work until I die.
Yeah.
And, I'll end up being a Walmart greeter or fucking running a gas station counter or something like that. And so,
it's definitely getting bad, man. It's fucking... Ugh.
And everybody's just going at each other instead of looking at what is to blame, which is all of the politicians on both sides are equally to blame for the problems we are facing.
And I really think that this fucking identity politics and shit like this is thrown out as a distraction. Oh, God.
Wait, I'll be right there. I have to go grab a package, so can you go for like 5 minutes?
Sure. Why not?
Try. Sorry about that.
Let's see what happens. Yeah, no worries, man.
All right, be right back.
All right. Yeah. All right. I even forgot that was kind of a random thing thrown on there, but I've already forgotten what we were just talking about because I'm panicking. So we'll see. Hold on. I actually had a list of things at live stream topic things, so we'll go through that. I have one here. I forgot. God dang it! I forgot whose video I watched, but apparently in Philadelphia they have this sugary beverage tax where like sodas and shit got taxed like crazy. It's something like 2 cents an ounce or something like that. And basically, it's gotten to the point where now it's cheaper for beer in the city of Philly than it is for sodas and shit. So now they're actually getting very little money from the tax because people have stopped buying soda and have now bought more beer than soda. Or people are pretty much going out of the city because it's a city tax. So they end up going all the way out of Philadelphia. So they're getting absolutely none of the taxes on groceries because people are going as far outside of the city to buy the food and then coming back in. But I just thought it was funny that the fact that the sugary tax completely backfired on them, and it's actually gotten people drinking more, and which is actually obviously, not surprisingly, it's worse for you than the soda that they were trying to legislate out, I guess, with this tax. So basically, that's I don't know. It sucks. I hate not crediting the people that I did that. I should have put a note on here, but anyways, that happened. And then let's see. I'm trying to think of anything else that's happening that I can go off of. Queer kid stuff. Oh yeah. I don't think we've ever talked about queer kid stuff on here, and maybe that's good. Yeah, it's something I can't fucking just freestyle on, so I don't know why I put that on here. Yeah. Although, yeah, it said if I'm more prepared, I could go off of. Oh, Jesus, I just lost my train of thought again. Jesus Christ. All right. Oh, I'm way behind. Okay. I don't think anybody's listening anyway, are they? Yeah, the last time anybody even commented was 121 hours. Yeah. Yeah, nobody's in the chat, dude. Okay. Okay. Other than that, trying to kind of look through my feed. Ghost in the Shell. I'm just looking through my feed here to see if there's anything that I can fucking bullshit about. Yeah, Philip DeFranco. Yeah, this is kind of curious. I think it's actually gotten to the point where people like Philip DeFranco are more trustworthy as far as news goes than any of the mainstream media is. So, which I like. I like DeFranco. I don't know how anybody else out there feels about him, but he actually seems like a pretty honest dude. So it's at least encouraging that he's getting the support, because I think YouTube. He's one of the ones that YouTube would have taken down if not for Patreon and other shit. So yeah, it's pretty encouraging that that there's at least some sources that news sources that seem to be somewhat objective, because he seems like a pretty reasonable dude. That might actually be, worthy news sources.
Oh shit! All right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Yeah, dude, I was rambling. I don't ever want to hear what just happened, but how bad it was. Plus, I think it's only you and me that are actually watching it at this point. It shows two people watching, so I think it's just you and me, basically.
I just got like a desk delivered, so I had to run out and sign for it and fucking have the guy set it in the front yard.
Yeah, no worries,
actually
man.
Attached to a pallet. They leave me with the whole pallet and everything. It's not just like a box.
Oh, wow.
So it's just like, what am I supposed to do with a fucking...
That's crazy.
Oh, so yeah, I had to figure out where to put it, and like, I got to set it there, and then I can take apart the pallet and put the parts in.
Yeah. Sounds like fun.
Oh, super fun.
Yeah, but no, I actually had gotten like a little list together of shit in case that happened. But most of it was shit that really I need someone else to talk to about. But the one thing I talked about is, I don't know if you heard about this, and I do not remember which YouTuber it was, which that I can't credit for this, but apparently in Philadelphia they came up with this sugary beverage tax, where they taxed like, it was something like 1.5 to 2 cents per ounce of like soda.
That should not be legal. Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, basically what happened was, basically it just failed miserably. For one thing, people started drinking beer more because beer actually ended up being cheaper than soda with the tax. Yeah. And beyond that, people that still wanted to drink soda would just go and do their shopping outside of the city because it was a city tax. So they would basically go and do all their shopping outside of Philly and then, come back in, obviously. So they were missing out on a huge amount of tax revenue by trying to fucking do that, dude. Yeah. So that's kind of what I talked about while you were away.
Didn't New York do like a similar thing where they tried to limit the size you could sell?
Right.
Like you could sell like a certain amount of ounces?
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure. I hadn't heard that much about it, but I just thought it was hilarious that it failed on all fronts.
It's so ridiculous that shouldn't even be allowed.
Right.
Like, you're not.
Yeah. Although it's the same as like the tax on cigarettes. Like the fucking tax on cigarettes is fucking outrageous in a lot of places, dude.
Yeah.
And it just like that shouldn't be legal either, man. To tax something that much. Because, you know, there's some places where cigarettes are like $4 a pack, and then there's places where that same pack runs you $9-10 a pack.
Yeah, California now it's like $9-10 a pack.
Yeah, yeah.
Or more like 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
Not that much different, but
yeah, or like Florida. Yeah, in Florida, when I was in Florida a few years back, it was like $4 a pack, and out here it was basically like about 7 or 8 at that point, like $7 a pack out here. And you know, and that discrepancy should not be that fucking big, dude.
Well, we used to be able to get around it because I work in mental health, and in mental health, everybody fucking smokes.
Right.
We used to be able to get around it by having people order cigarettes from like Mexico, and like you get the Class A cigarettes in the States. In Mexico, they have Class C cigarettes. I don't know what the difference is, but I can tell you that like at $1 a pack, they're not bad for the clients. They seem to love it. So they would buy like cartons for like $5 a carton and shit. It was crazy. It's illegal in the States to buy medication out of states, even if you're prescribed it. Any medication, even if it's just like heart medication or like, antibiotics, it's illegal. It's like a felony.
Yeah, I never fucking, it's so fucking... Right. Yeah, it's like, dude, if you can't compete because you're fucking stuff is so outrageous.
Well, yeah, because other governments require that they require not price fixing, they price limit. So they're not setting the price on the drugs. They're saying you can't make more than 100% profit, 100% of the cost of the pill. You can't make more than the cost of the pill in profits, which is an insane profit margin for anything. So what's been going on in the U.S. is they're making 1,000%, 2,000% profit. They're selling it for 3,000% markup. Just insane amounts of profit.
No, it's the whole thing.
Beyond any industry should be allowed to make.
Yeah, they're way too powerful, man. That's a powerful lobby.
Well, and especially
it's the same thing with Shkreli did. What Martin Shkreli did with that the AIDS medication.
Yeah, well, it's stuff that people need to live. So, like, you're basically charging a 3,000% markup because people have no other option.
Right. It's either pay that or fucking die.
Yeah, and so that's why they limit the medications in other countries, because they're like, that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things.
But just the fact that was possible, dude, was just seemed fucking horrible to me.
Well, it's how you can tell our politicians are all corrupt. If the left wing had any real want to help the people, that would be number one on their list of things to do.
Right.
The pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying I think this identity politics and the shit that they have people fighting over is shit to distract us from stuff like that, like how bad the pharmaceutical industry is, or any of the other shit. It's like a way to distract us and have us fighting over bullshit.
Yeah, you don't see the left wing leading the march on deprivatizing prisons, on making it back into government institutions. Oh man!
Bear with me just a second.
Oh, I'm back on my own. I was about 2 seconds from ending it too. I was like, I'm going for like 2 hours. Probably time to give it up.
Oh shoot. Okay, yeah, might as well. It's getting fucking noisy around here anyway.
Oh yeah, no worries, man.
But yeah, sounds good, Bing.
All right, well, it was fun talking with you, and we'll be back for anybody who may actually be listening to this in the recording. We'll be back in Sunday night, 10:30 Pacific Standard Time, PM.
Be there.
Yeah, or be square. Oh, that was awful.